Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent.
Hey guys, welcome back once again. Now, today I want to talk about not taking magic for granted. So, many of you guys, like me, grew up probably in awe of magic. You know, the usual pick a card, any card. The sleight of hand, the wonder and intrigue. So I want to dive into that with you guys today on the Forever Better Academy podcast. So, as I say, when I was a kid, I was just fascinated by magic, right? And the beauty. I think most of us as kids really know wonder, right? More than anything, because you're so young and naive and you don't have all these data points and references and experiences to necessarily determine what you're witnessing, right? And when you're in that moment and something occurs that you can't logically explain away or understand what has happened, it's wonder, it's intriguing. There's a level of curiosity, right? And I think as a species, innately we want to know, we want to understand, and when something challenges our perceptions like magic does, it's this beautiful reminder to challenge ourselves to look deeper and think outside what we believe to be and what it might be, right? Now, the reason I want to talk to you guys about this one today is really, I think one of those key things that has served me very well in my life so far is never losing sense of that wonder in my life, right? It's very easy to do if you think about all the day-to-day pressures and challenges and, family life and bills and responsibilities that can quite easily fill your whole world and detract from the things around us that we often overlook or we take for granted because there's so much going on. There's a lot going in our minds and we have other things to think about, right? And, as I say, I never wanted to lose sense of that wonder. I try to always remind myself to see that wonder in the things that are around me every day. Something as simple as the texture of bark on a tree that I walk past every single day and don't even think to look at it, right? Now, there is an immense number of people, or there are rather, that especially in my experience as I go through life, it seems to be less and less people hold on to that magic and that wonder. And as you interact with other adults and grown-ups, and many of you would know this, right? When you meet someone that has that youthful wonder and curiosity and joy and innocence, and when you meet someone like that, it does something to you, right? There's like almost this you're intrigued by the person. There's this energy, this feeling that sort of captures you, right? It captures your imagination, right? And there's those people I find as I get older are few and far between. Now, the people who have lost the magic in their own lives struggle to see it anywhere else in the world, right? And oftentimes those are the kind of people that will ridicule you when you see the magic, right? Now, of course, it's hard to feel like there isn't any magic left in your life, right? Or if there isn't in your day-to-day And as I say, as we as individuals get older and busier, and we forget the importance of magic in our world. Right now, when you start to overlook it and you don't give it the attention it's due, or take time to notice or acknowledge it, eventually you stop seeing it altogether. Right? Now, the hard part in that is, how do you recapture that magic? How do you bring it back when you are constantly conditioning yourself, and you're focused on the things that are taking your, or demanding your attention, and you start to overlook those things that used to bring you joy and wonder and intrigue as a young child. When you start to condition ourselves to not see those things, they disappear, right? And then when they're not there, or when you stop seeing them, often you start to believe that they don't exist anymore. And it's not really that the magic isn't there. We've just lost sight of it, right? We've over-explained it, or we've explained it away, or we're so busy we're not even interested in seeing it to explain it, or to try and comprehend it and understand what it means, or the feelings that it invokes within us. Right? Like you think back right now. I want you to try and remember the first time that you ever witnessed magic, right? Like a magic trick, like a street magician, or one of those shows on TV, or at a circus or a carnival, or something where you first saw magic. And really think back to that. You just, like, you're so focused, right? You ever watch someone, and they're a magician is great at capturing your attention, right? And they have you zoned into what they're doing, and you're intrigued, and nothing else matters. You're captivated, right? So your focus and attention is honed in. And then when you're watching, and you have expectations of what's going to happen, and something different happens, it shakes your world. When you're little, right? You remember that feeling where, like, your mind's blown, and you know that second of the muddled feeling in your head when you just, like, what happened, and you don't know whether to try and process it and understand it, or you're so baffled by what you just witnessed. You saw something with your own eyes that you didn't believe was possible, or it shouldn't be possible, or physics and the laws of the universe say that it isn't, right? That's the wonder in it, the beauty in it, because you see something and you know it can't be right, but you just saw it happen. Right? That feeling that you had in that moment, everything else, think about it. In that moment, do you feel any pain? Do you feel any pressure, any sadness, any turmoil, or frustration, or angst? All of that doesn't exist, right? In that moment, it's one of the most pure moments and experiences that not only a child but a human can have, I believe, right? And you look at that sense where I feel like it's almost like the most attuned to the experience you'll ever be. You're there, you're present, right? You're in the moment, and that moment is wonder and special, and it's something that you cherish, right? Like I can think of those, like, lots of little moments in my life like that give me a wonderful sense of memory and experience and appreciation for the moment, right? I'm thankful for those experiences. Now, when as I say, when you start to to go back to the conditioning of overlooking those moments, right? Is it any wonder when we do that why we have more stress, why we have more challenges, more anxiousness, and we are restless? When we strip the magic out of our lives, it gets replaced with frustrations and challenges and overanalyzing things and overthinking things, and we're so caught up in not only what has occurred or what may occur, and we lose sight of being present in the moment, right? And there's nothing better than magic than to bring us back into that moment, right? To put us in the present. And when you start taking that magic for granted, you lose the eyes that can see that wonder in the world. And beyond that, beyond tricks, beyond card tricks or sleight of hand or just traditional magic, there's magic everywhere, all around us in the world, everywhere you look. And it's about recapturing and retraining ourselves to see it, right? And it's absolutely everywhere. Like if you and a good example, simple example, right? You think about almost every day, I imagine that you see a bird flying in the sky, right? And we understand, science has explained to us, we know that how birds fly and how they can drift on thermal currents and the shape of their wing that helps them get lift and the design. And yeah, you can explain it away. Absolutely. But what value comes from knowing in depth how something works if that's not something as a field of specialty that you need to understand in life? Do you get more value from understanding how the bird flies? Or do you get more value from just looking up and watching the beauty of this creature almost seeming to defy the odds and float through the air? Right? That's the magic. It's wonder. Sitting back in awe and thinking, how special that moment can be, right? Witnessing that, taking it in and appreciating it and just seeing it, right? Just watching it and being surprised, right? Now, the magic is the wonder of life, right? And I think how to sum this up? A good way, I think, is if you ever remember, there was a show when I was a kid, right? When I was little, called Secrets Revealed, right? And it used to be like they go on and reveal how magic tricks were done, right? They'd have all these traditional tricks, and they'd talk about, the person revealing this is revealing these sort of industry secrets, and they used to wear a mask and you couldn't see their face because they're risking their life, and they put this big story behind it, right? And ultimately there's an element of curiosity where you want to see, how was the trick done? Like what how did it work, right? And there's a sense of fascination of wanting to know. And then you watch the show and you see the trick revealed, and after, knowing has robbed you of the wonder. Like you know how it's done, but you haven't gained for knowing how that trick was done. You've actually lost something. You've lost that moment, that magic, that awe and just mystery, right? Now, it's cool to know how it's done, but I know the tricks that I don't understand, that how those are done, they have a far greater and more immense impact in my life than me having knowledge of how a magician does what he does or does what she does. Now, the key is you don't always need to know how the trick was done to get the value, right? The true value comes from how it makes you feel, the wonder, the intrigue, as I say, the baffle, your mind blowing and shifting what you thought was possible, changing your perspectives. The value in making you think differently to how you currently do is beyond the value of understanding what's behind the trick, right? Seeing behind the curtain. I should never take that for granted, right? Now, the way that has served me well in recapturing that magic that I want to share with you guys is to talk to, as I said, the example of appreciating something like watching a bird fly through the sky. It's about appreciating the small things in your life that we all take for granted, right? All of us are guilty of it. But I tell you, when you can retrain yourself to see things like, as an example, a hot shower, right? Food on your table, a home-cooked meal, right? Good health, a roof over your head. There's magic in that, right? The wonder in the things that we take for granted. If we think and appreciate and see the specialness in those little things that we overlook every day, it retrains us and recalibrates us to be aligned with seeing that magic and feeling that wonder and bringing ultimately joy and happiness into every little moment that we experience. And it's hard to do that, right? I'm not going to sit here and make out that that's the easiest thing to do. It's not, especially if you've gone through spending most of your life, losing sight of those things. And then if you can start with the small things that are easy to reinvigorate that vision, that capability, that sense in your life. And I find when I, in my own experience, have taken the time to appreciate those little things, that's when I see more of the magic. Like I look back when I was a little kid, we used to have this massive eucalyptus tree in our backyard. And I used to lay on my bed and look out my window and watch the leaves blowing in the wind. Just sitting, taking nothing else except the attention on the leaves and watching them just move back through the wind, dancing in the wind. And it calmed me down. And I was just intrigued by the way that the tree danced in the wind, right? And now, when I feel overwhelmed or a sense of too much going on in my life, right now I'm very thankful outside this window that you probably can't see right here is another large eucalyptus tree that I can sit and watch and see the leaves just dancing in the wind. And there's magic in that. Why is that moment not special? Is someone else watching it? Is someone else feeling what I'm feeling when they're watching it at the same time? Am I the only person noticing that? Is everyone else so busy that they miss the simple joy of what's around us, right? And it's been immensely transformative in my life to do those little things. Take myself back into those childhood moments where I can remember a feeling. And we can get back to those feelings, right? We can recapture those moments, the magic, the joy, wonder and intrigue, curiosity by remembering what got us there in the first place, and then practicing and bringing that back into our lives, right? Now, when you've conditioned your eyes to overlook that magic, doing this is what helps to recondition them, because it's very hard to see what we've taught ourselves to overlook, right? And these are the ways that we start small and build upon that skill, because everything, every ability, every capability is a skill that can be developed. Any little simple thing that you might not think that it's a skill set, it most certainly is a skill set. We can enhance and hone in on our ability to do those things, right? And when you stop taking magic for granted, your life can't help but be filled up with magic again. All right, there's a sense of remembrance, right? And beyond anything, I think we know a lot of the answers when we're children, right? We know and we feel it, we understand, and we get it. And then we are molded and shaped into what society teaches us to be or expects of us, and what we believe is the right path to follow. And I see it as I get older. It's almost like this rite of passage that we have to get off course to come back on course and appreciate where we were in the beginning. Like more and more, I try to recapture those childlike moments, because that's like the answers. If I think things that someone teaches me now, or I grasp, or I comprehend, or I understand a concept or something, or a feeling, or where joy and wonder and happiness comes from in my life, when I get back to that moment and that feeling, it reminds me of something that happened as a kid, because the feeling transports you back to that moment, and you realize you just lost sight of what you felt and knew in the beginning, right? Like, we just have to come back to our childlike self, and the magic is there. Everything's magical when you're a kid, right? Because everything's new. But the trick is, even if something isn't new to you, it doesn't mean that the magic isn't there. It doesn't mean that we can't still appreciate it and marvel at it and wonder at it and be thankful for it. Be blessed with the experience of what it brings to our lives, right? Now, when you can start to recapture those little moments of magic in every day in your life, right? You not only will be able to see that magic once more, but you'll be able to help others to see it too, because they will see it in you. I remember when I said earlier in the conversation, where when you meet someone and there's an aura about them, there's a sense of wonder and intrigue, and something that captivates you about that person, and there's a good feeling and energy, and you cling on to it because it reminds you of who you are and what you're capable of, and how you used to feel and how you can feel, right? And the more of us that don't take magic for granted, we bring the magic back to all of those around us once again. And that's what it's all about, right? Who could you become? All right, guys. I think that's a nice place to leave it today. And for those of you that this is the first time being here, thank you so much for taking the time to share with me and engage in the conversation. My name is Wade Vincent. If you like what you have heard today, please share it with others. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, and don't forget to go out and appreciate something small and simple that's maybe just the leaves on the tree dancing in the wind around you today. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you next Friday. Bye.